Welcome, welcome. No one's on yet.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to be mindful about time. Lovely people showed up a little bit early, and so I want to make sure that we're honoring your time, so this way you guys can get out on time and get to whatever next engagement you want to have. So before I begin, I just want to go over some housekeeping rules. So when you guys are at your seats, feel free to take your masks off if you're comfortable taking your masks off. However, when you're up and you're moving around, we ask that you put your masks on. If you enter any of the buildings, you have to have your mask on as well. If you need to use the restroom, you can actually go into Buchanan Hall. The restrooms are on the first floor, so you can just go to Buchanan and use the restrooms. We also have refreshments for you all, so many of you I've given water to. If not, we have waters inside of the bags underneath your seats, along with some chips and some cookies. All right. We ask that you just take your trash out. There's garbage cans in the back, and that'll be great. The last thing is after the event is over and you begin to transition out, we've reserved the Holton Plaza, which is over to my right, your left, and you have the Mason statue over there. So a lot of our graduates and a lot of our students like to pose and take pictures. So feel free to do so. And we just ask that you guys observe social distancing, and that'll be great. So now let's get started. So I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Kasim Davis, and I serve as Director of the Early Identification Program. I'm so happy that you guys are able to come out this evening. This year, we wanted to be super intentional. So we've actually held, if you guys look at your program, you'll see 3 distinct programs, but 3, actually for all of our 7 public schools, partners. And so Fairfax is our longest serving partner and our largest partner. So we wanted to make sure we treated Fairfax right. So it's just Fairfax here tonight. This is exclusively Fairfax County Public Schools. And so with that being said, I really am happy that you guys are out. I'm really happy that you guys are here to celebrate with us. This has been one hell of a year. I think we can all agree to that. And so being able to have this event in person it was a huge priority for us, because last year we weren't able to do it. We weren't able to recognize our seniors. So seniors, if you guys have looked inside of your envelopes, you all will have your stoles. If you guys can make sure you put your stoles on as well, that'll be great. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ms. Julia Blank Godlove. She's our Dean of Students, and she's going to provide some remarks on behalf of our Vice President, Rose Pasquarello.
Thank you, Kasim. So good evening and welcome back to George Mason University. We are delighted to host our families, our school partners, our donors, our honored guests, but especially all of you, our graduates. On behalf of the Division of University Life and Vice President Rose Pasquarello, I'm pleased to offer an enthusiastic congratulations to the class of 2021. You have persevered through extraordinary times and circumstances, and you find yourselves here today, ready to take on new adventures. And we are so proud of you. And while I hope that I see all of you here in the fall as Mason students, please know that EIP and University Life are behind you, cheering you on no matter where you find yourselves going to college. And we look for the best for all of you in your college years and beyond. Again, congratulations to the graduates and to their families. We know that you will do great things. Thank you.
All right, there we go. Thank you, Juliet. So before I proceed, I want to just thank our school partners, Fairfax County Public Schools. I want to acknowledge a few people in the crowd today, some special people, and students and families. These are the folks who work behind the scenes to make sure that you all have a program. And so I always want to make sure that I'm acknowledging our school partners, specifically Stephanie, how you doing? Dr. Lynette Henry and Miss Eileen Ruzica. And of course, Superintendent Bray Brand. Thank you. So next up, I would like to introduce Dr. Bray Brand, who's going to come up and offer some congratulatory remarks to you all. Dr. Bray Brand.
Good evening, everybody. What a wonderful time to be here tonight on the campus of George Mason to celebrate with you your graduation. Let's give these graduates a big round of applause. Today was my first day getting to go to graduations, and it's so exciting to really be reconnecting in person after spending a year unlike any other away through a virtual presence. We had a connection, but there's the power of personal presence. And it's so exciting that we are starting to see the end of this pandemic and that we can celebrate with you in person. And I want to thank George Mason first for making this possible. Let's give them a big round of applause. And Director Davis, I want to thank you and the entire team for coordinating the event, not just today, but the last 2 days. I don't know if it was this beautiful weather yesterday and the day before with 70-mile-an-hour winds coming through. Thank you, Mr. Davis, for everything you have done. You know, this is a partnership that started even before I was here in '93 as an intern in Fairfax County. It goes back to the 80s. 87, a partnership began between Fairfax County Public Schools and George Mason to identify early on kids with potential, with promise, and connect them and support them and turn them into college students and Mason students. And this program, over really now 4 decades, is delivering on that promise and vision. We have 13 of our Fairfax County Public Schools that participate, and it supports over 200 first-generation college students. And I want you to know that this year's EIP class, 3 students have partial scholarships and 5 have full 4-year scholarships to George Mason University. I really am proud to be superintendent in a school system that knows that anybody with the right supports, with the right nurturing, anybody can go through our system and become college material and ultimately college graduates. That is the equity work that we've been called to do and will continue to do. And we need to continue to find ways to expand this program, not just in 13 of our schools in Fairfax County, but all of them. I do want you to know, and graduates, honestly, you've got the resume of the century. You've lived through a pandemic, a once-in-a-century event, and you're still graduating from Fairfax County Public Schools, and you're off to college and success. And if you are able to persevere through this moment, there is no moment in college, there is no moment in the job market, there is no moment in life that you won't be able to confront and conquer in your life. I really also just want to thank all the EIP advocates, the Director of Student Services and school counselors, teachers, parent liaisons, college and career specialists, George Mason tutors, mentors, academic success coaches. Actually, all those names I just mentioned, if you're a Director of Student Service, an EIP advocate, a school counselor, teacher, a parent liaison, a college career specialist, a mentor, academic success coach, stand right now if you are here in the audience tonight. Are any of these people here tonight? Any of them? Way in the back. There you go. Thank you. Let's give them a big round of applause. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a family to raise a child. And this is a partnership that truly is between George Mason University and Fairfax County Public Schools. That is a model for the nation. And it's the kind of work that we need to continue to do. We need to continue it to expand and widen so that the moment that you get today coming up here, the moment that you're going to get when you cross the stage at your Fairfax County Public School graduation is a moment that more kids get the chance to have to embrace. Thank you and congratulations, class of 2021 EIP graduates. We are proud of you.
So again, thank you, Dr. Brinkman. So next up, we're going to hear from our students. So I have a request, okay? This is our last graduation. And I know that we know how to celebrate, okay? And we know how to celebrate our accomplishments. And so I'm going to ask you, I'm going to beg you, as the students are coming up to speak, I need you guys to cheer them on. And when you hear how phenomenal the students are, especially the students that are coming up to speak, and some of the obstacles that they actually had to overcome to get here, I think anything less than a standing ovation, I think we're gonna have to stand to make sure that we acknowledge them. So first up, I want to introduce a very sharp young man. And I met Farhan a few years ago, and I remember he came to the summer academies religiously, always present, always there early, and he would always somehow find me in front of Starbucks. I have a slight addiction to Starbucks. But Farhan and he always had a bunch of questions, and he always had great questions. You know, they say one of the virtues of a good student is the quality of questions that they're able to ask, and that was this gentleman right here. He will be graduating from Thomas Jefferson High School in a few weeks. Definitely one of our all-stars, and he's also a recipient of the 4-year scholarship to George Mason University. So without further ado, Farhan.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing very well on this special night. I want to start off with a few thank yous. First and foremost, I would like to thank my parents. I know all the seniors here would like to do the same. Without your efforts, sacrifices, commitments, and belief in us, we are nothing. You were the ones driving us to our AM sessions and the bus stops so we can attend EIP events. You were the ones taking time out to attend the parent meetings, the ones asking questions. You get all the information for us. So thank you. I would also like to thank our school partners from Fairfax, Prince William, Manassas Pond, Manassas City, Arlington, Alshire City, and Alexander City Public Schools, as well as our community members, EIP staff, and donors. We could not have done any of this without your support. When I joined this program, I never believed that I would be one of the people up here talking about my time at EIP. I came to America from Pakistan on Thanksgiving Day 2006 at the age of 3 3/4, not understanding the sacrifices my parents were making for us. They were leaving everything behind, their friends, family, jobs, lives. Also, I would have a chance to succeed in school. I grew up in Woodbridge, Prince William County, and tried hard to make them proud by getting good grades. I usually kept my head down in the books, just getting by. And in 7th grade, my teacher suggested that I apply to EIP. It was here that I started my EIP journey like all the other seniors gathered. Every week, it was definitely a struggle getting up early on Saturday mornings with all we wanted, which is a couple of more hours of sleep. And then in 7th grade, and then having to go to summer academy every day for those 3 weeks in the hot summers. But the people I met here are some of my closest friends. The relationships built are some of my strongest. The lessons we learn about our future are some of the most valuable lessons we will ever learn. On our first career day during summer academy, when we had those guest speakers, I decided to ask one of them a question afterwards. I asked the question and he answered to my satisfaction. And as I was head out, He shook my hand and told me how lucky I am to be here and how impressed he was that we are spending our time here instead of playing around in the summer sun and all the other things. I was pretty hungry at the time because it was lunchtime, so I didn't think much of it and just tried to sneak away from him. But then he told me if he had something like EIP when he was young, he would have gone much farther as a professional, that I should never let go of opportunities like these. That stuck with me. I never thought about how fortunate we are that we have access to these resources. But I know they helped lead me to where I am today, up here, talking to you all. And I know this will help me in my next 4 years at Mason. I'll be attending George Mason University and studying engineering and getting the degree I've dreamed about my entire life. Please know that I will make sure to contribute and give back to this program because it helped me so much. The things we learned and the memories we made will help all of us in the fellow years as we commence our journey to adulthood. This is not the end of our time. This is the beginning. This ceremony is here not to just celebrate the end of our time at EIP, but to send us off into the world. Because believe me, my friends, we are ready. Congratulations.
Thank you, Farhan. Can we give another round of applause for Farhan, please? Next up, I would like to introduce another special young lady. This young lady, highly intelligent, and will actually be attending George Mason, and I believe she's coming here on a full tuition scholarship as well. You know, one of the things that I like to really stress to folks, oftentimes whenever I talk about EIP to folks, the response that I get is almost, hey, you know, as a matter of fact, I'll give you the recount of an actual conversation I had. I was speaking with this lady from a department here at George Mason University, and they had all of these wonderful opportunities that they were providing to students. And so I said, hey, look, I have some really great students that can benefit from these opportunities. And one of the things that she said to me, she said, well, you know, Kasim, we only really work with high achieving students. And so I said, what do you mean by that, right? And so she was like, you know, high achieving students that are doing well. So I was like, my students are killing it, right? And so one of the things that I always want to make sure that I'm doing is making sure that we are celebrating the ingenuity, really the pure genius that our students come to us with. And this young lady is really strong, really bold, and she's going to do great things. She'll be graduating from Fairfax High School. And Miss Stacy Maravi, please come up.
Good evening. Good evening, EIP seniors, EIP staff, and distinguished guests. Tonight, we're here to celebrate this important milestone. I want to congratulate my fellow EIP graduates. Together, we have endured one of the most challenging times in our history. Our journey is quite different compared to others because of our unforgettable 5-year journey here at Mason. Looking back, I'm so grateful for those summers because I don't know where I would be without them. EIP is a life-changing program, and EIP has been our support system. It has given us all the motivation, encouraged us to persevere, and provide valuable insight in the college application process. A moment I will never forget is when we all attended the EIP graduation as 8th graders. That night, I can still recall and hear the words of advice that a high school speaker gave us, and she encouraged us to all be persistent and to follow our passions. This advice has stayed with me since then, more so during this time. During this pandemic, despite all the dynamic new modalities and structures put into place to facilitate virtual learning, these words continue to resonate with me today. This past year, we've faced new and uncharted territory in the world of virtual learning. It's required us to pivot all dramatically and to remain focused on our studies. EIP too was up to the challenge, to stay with us by shifting all the programming online through EIP's virtual academic mentoring program. It proved to be a valuable source to help us with time management and access the academics of set coaches who were able to help me one-on-one with my academic coursework. And so EIP has been with us every step of the way. They've never left our side, especially during this pandemic. There were times where we felt alone. However, our connection with EIP and Mason and their commitment to help first-gen students will always resonate with us. So it will always help us thrive and develop our academic and professional skills as we embark the next chapter of our lives. I'd like to thank the EIP mentors who have supported us for all of these 5 years, especially acknowledge Mr. Davis, Ms. Alvarado, Ms. Vargas, and Mr. Monks. In addition, I would also like to personally thank our superintendent, Dr. Brabrand, making EIP accessible for first-gen families in Fairfax County Public Schools. I would also like to thank our EIP County Coordinator, Dr. Lynette Henry, and our EIP Liaison, Ms. Eileen Riska, for all your hard work and commitment to support us. And so I leave you with one final thought. We must never forget where we came from. Our families, school system, EIP, and Mason, who all gave us a solid foundation. Let us continue our journey in higher education with the same motivation, persistence, and the passion. Let us follow our dreams as we embark on our next goal, to become the first in our families to graduate with college degrees. Si se puede, yes we can.
All right. And so next up, I want to introduce another lovely young lady. So I have a story to share about this young lady as well. So a few months ago, we facilitated our scholarship application process. And, you know, we were facilitating it on Zoom. And so my family was sitting in the background and they can hear some of the responses that the scholarship recipients or the people that were interviewing were giving. And so this young lady, we're asking her questions, and I look out of the corner of my eye, and my wife is standing on the side of my computer. And so I'm like, babe, like, why are you standing there? She kind of threw me off. And she looked at me and she said, oh my gosh, she is so cute. She sounds so, and she was just so amazed by the responses that she was giving during the interview process. You guys are, I think this young lady is special. And so I'm really happy to introduce her, Ms. Brenda Lebron. And I'll share this last thing. When I called to notify her that she received the scholarship, she actually received a partial scholarship initially. And then we were able to figure it out, and we were able to give her a full tuition scholarship. And so I decided to pull a prank. And I said, hey, Brenda, I have some good news and I have some bad news. And so she said, oh my God, Mr. Davis, just tell me the bad news. And so I said, you know, that scholarship, we're gonna have to take it away from you. And she said, oh my goodness. Well, she said, okay, tell me the good news, tell me the good news. And so I said, the good news is we're gonna replace it with a full tuition scholarship at George Mason University. And she said, oh my God. And so you can hear it, she's crying in the background. And so Brenda, I'd like you to come up and share some remarks. Thank you.
Good evening, my fellow seniors, parents, school partners, distinguished guests. My name is Brenda Lebron. I am a proud Hondureña. I came to the U.S. at age 11, and it feels like it was just 1 year ago. When I applied to be part of the early identification in the 7th grade, I remember that I was so nervous because my English was not so good. I was still an ESOL student learning the American culture and educational system. But from the information I was given, I understood it was a good opportunity to attend college. And I was down for it. I was ready to fill out the EIP application. I understood. I'm sorry. Looking back, I remember my 7th grade self filling out the EIP application, which I would love to reread. I was unaware of the impact that this was going to have in my high school experience and ultimately my college journey. It has been 5 years that we have all committed, and now we are all here together. As a little girl in Honduras, I always dreamed of attending college.
But when my family and I came to the US, those dreams were lost because I remember my mother telling me that she could never afford college, and I accepted it with sadness. But a month ago, I received a call from Mr. Davis that changed my life forever. Mr. Davis shared with me that I was given the honor of receiving a full tuition scholarship. I was crying over the phone. He already said. And that same night, my mom was hugging me and thanking God for the opportunity I was given. On behalf of my mother, my family, and myself, I want to thank all of the donors who help us support this program to be successful to their gracious donations. I would like to personally thank our school superintendent, Dr. Scott Brand, for allowing all of us Fairfax County Public School students to be part of this amazing program at Mason. I am proud to share that I will start my college journey at George Mason University pursuing a bachelor's degree in business management with a concentration in accounting. I also want to thank Mr. Davis, Mr. Aaron Muss, Ms. Jessica Vargas, Ms. Reina Alvarado, all the great teachers and mentors. Finally, I wish to address my fellow 2021 high school graduates. This may be the last time that we are all here together, but the memories we've made in the EIP program will be for a lifetime. Whatever your college path takes you this fall, persevere with the same commitment and passion as we did this 5 years. We are all fulfilling our dreams of going to college. Dreaming is what we do, but we are all going to accomplish our goals. This is where my speech is supposed to end, but I know that my mother, she's recording me right there. She understood 25% of what I just said. So I apologize because I'm going to say some words in Spanish to her. Mami, estoy pidiendo solamente 30 segundos para dar gracias a Dios de tenerla a usted como mi madre, a mi hermana a un lado. Como el señor Braybrand dijo, se necesita a una familia para criar a un hijo. Y usted, mis dos hermanos, han sido mi familia. Usted me ha visto en una mesa hasta la noche haciendo tareas y usted cocinando, pero diciéndome que todo lo puedo lograr. Y me ha dado mucha fuerza. Usted, desde que yo vine acá, sin siquiera conocerlo en persona, ha estado conmigo el año completo, los 12 meses del año, los 365 días, todo el tiempo. Una mujer que me ha enseñado más de lo que yo he aprendido en toda mi vida. Una mujer tan fuerte que siento que en mí se refleja algo de lo que ella es y aún así me quedo corta. Esto es un logro que ambas tenemos y estoy muy feliz de estar aquí. Thank you everyone and congratulations to all my seniors.
All right, so let's give another round of applause for Brenda. Okay, so now is one of my favorite moments where we get to recognize all of our students. And so seniors, I'm going to call your names. When I call your names, you can stand and remain standing, all right? First up, Jacqueline Ajikun. Harun Ahmed. Carrie Amaya. Mohammed Farhad Babar. Henry Barrera Vallejos. Jonathan Campos. Nicholas Carrillo. Derek Castillo. Jason Cisneros, Rodney Cobbs, Oscar Pereira Agapito, Aaron Fraga, Nathan Casa, Tam Dang Lee, Brenda Monroe, Genesee Lopez Fuentes, Stacy Maravi, Andrew Miguel, Camila Morada Flores, David Quiroga Novillo, Shirley Rice Gerto, Anna Rivera, Shema Saleman, Leba Sheikh, Nargis Tafwiz, Ilben Talez, Henak Talahun, Kenneth Torico Pardo, Ashley Valdez Gonzalez, Ezekiel Valadares Relegano, Roberto Ventura Arcamo, and Abdul Rahman Warsani. Ladies and gentlemen, before you is class 2021 of the Early Identification Program. Let's stand and give them a round of applause, please. Thank you. So, seniors, you guys, I want you to remain standing. Everybody else can sit. I want to say something special. These students are special. When you talk about sacrifice, when you talk about hard work, they're the epitome of sacrifice and hard work. When a lot of their peers were in bed, when a lot of their peers were hanging out at the pool, when a lot of their peers were just sitting at home playing Xbox or whatever it is they were doing, these students were at the bus stop waiting to be bused to George Mason University to take advantage of the programs that we have. Many of them, to be honest with you, were probably like, you know what, this is a waste of time. But I hope that now you're beginning to see that it's paying off. And 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're really going to begin to see and understand the impact that this program has had on your lives. I also want to take a minute, and students, I want you guys to look at your parents, right? Because oftentimes our parents aren't recognized, our parents aren't acknowledged, and oftentimes their sacrifices aren't acknowledged, nor are they respected. Your parents are the ones that put up with you. Your parents are the ones that egg you to get out of bed, right? Your parents are the ones that believe you, and they love you unconditionally. And to be honest with you, none of you guys would be here if it wasn't for your parents. And so make sure you guys give a warm round of applause to your parents, because guess what? Even though many of your parents may not have gone to college, you better believe they're going to be your biggest cheerleaders as you guys are going through this journey. Okay? When you guys are coming home and you're unsure because you have all of these midterms and finals, it's going to be your parents. They may not be able to help you with that material, but they're going to be there to tap you on the shoulder and tell you that you can do it. All right? So again, make sure you're acknowledging your parents. Make sure you're valuing your parents. Because the reality of it is, and I'll say this, as you guys are getting older, your parents are getting older. Okay? And eventually your parents will not be here. So your parents are putting a lot of time and effort to make sure you guys become the best adults and the best versions of yourselves. So again, make sure that you guys are honoring, make sure you guys are respecting, Make sure you guys are loving your parents. All right? So without further ado, I'd like to conclude our 2021 EIP graduation ceremony for Fairfax County Public Schools. Again, thank you all. And before I release you, I want to make sure that I acknowledge my team as well. Students, you guys can sit. The EIP staff, they're kind of running around. But oftentimes, these staff members are working here. I usually have to pluck them out of the office, to be honest with you. And once the university opened up, it was ridiculous. They were here, they would be in their offices with their doors closed, masks on, even though they were in their offices, and they would be working here. And I would leave at 5 o'clock, and there's one person, Jessica in particular, you guys know Miss Jessica. She would literally be here. She's actually a graduate of Fairfax County Public Schools as well. Came to George Mason on a full tuition scholarship, and she's an EIP alumna. But she would be here until 9 o'clock at night, making sure that everything was tight so that you guys had a program. All right? So I always want to make sure that I'm acknowledging my team, because as soon as we went into this pandemic, there was no question about whether or not we were going to continue our programs. I said, guys, discontinuing the programs isn't an option. They said, we agree, what do we need to do? And they didn't complain, not one step through the process. And so again, if you guys can just give a round of applause to the EIP team. It's not a lot of us. All together, it's about 5 or 6 of us, but we do the work of about 20 people. So again, thank you all for coming out tonight. Students, you guys are joining over 2,000 EIP alumni that are in the world doing great things. Again, I want to say thank you all for coming out this evening. We have some refreshments in the back. If you guys want any more water, any more soda, please feel free to grab it. And feel free to go over to Holton Plaza. We'll have some music playing and you guys can take photos as well. So thank you all. Please get home safely. Good night.